you look at Wikipedia for Shakespeare, he has 11 plays that are named after kings. And that does not include, the plays that do have a king as a lead character, but not named after kings. Like, there's King Lear, who was not based on, a historical king. There was, Macbeth and Hamlet. I mean, they weren't kings, but they were royalty. So it's like there were also kings in there because the whole thing with Macbeth was trying to kill the Scottish king. Like, you've been MIA? Yeah. How could you people have stuff to do in December? Exams? Vacation? Unforgivable. You must be parasocially attached to me. If I say jump, you must jump. I'm kidding. The desk slam. Yeah, that was my keyboard. Nah. I must jump now. Hop! Hop! Hi, but yes, hi everyone. Joking aside, I am glad, when you guys get really busy and it's stressful, I'm not necessarily glad for you guys, but I'm glad you guys are able to get stuff done and or relax. 'Tis the season, 'cause yeah, I remember the very first time I had university exams. I threw up right before going into the exam. Or was it after? I can't remember. I'm sure the proctors loved me. Christmas shopping soon. You're gonna get me something? I'm kidding. I have to do Christmas shopping too. I've been putting it off because I'm not going to see my family until January. So I'm like, why would I need to, deal with the holiday rush when, I don't have to give out most of my gifts until 3 weeks after Christmas. Because I had mentioned before, Papa Mellis had knee replacement surgery, and I was like, you know what? It's easier to get time off in January anyway, because then you're not fighting with all the people who have kids trying to get time off. Like, people who have young kids, because they almost always get priority. So I'm like, I'll just go visit in January, and then, I don't have to worry about any of that holiday stress nonsense, except for, what do I get Iduna and her partner Ace. Because so usually I don't end up getting Ace anything because he's pretty mum about his likes. There's just some people that are really hard to buy for. Because, they're not really vocal about what they like, or they're not the type to amass that many material things. But I found out that he loves Stitch from Lilo and Stitch, and he's finally started embracing it. So I'm like, excellent. I can just buy you a plushie. Excellent. Hey, that's so much right. I used to just get him candy canes because I knew he really liked candy canes, and I'm like, all right, here you go. Here's something. I tried to get him some One Piece stuff one year, but it's really hard because again, Iduna collects figures. Ace has a couple, but he's very picky about them, and it's figures are expensive. I don't want to buy something and then they're like, oh yeah, that's great, and then secretly they hate it. At least, you know, a Disney thing, that's really easy to find a variety of stuff of. And it's like, you know, I can get him something practical as well if I find it. Like, you know, like a mug or a cup. And, like, I could put, like, candy in the cup, in the mug or something and wrap it up all nice. I'm like, thank God. I've known this guy as long as I've known Iduna. But because Iduna and I talk a lot, much easier. Much easier. Ace barely ever used social media. I'm like, okay, I know you like cats, but it's like, what do you buy men? Because that's the other thing as well, right? Like, I have Papa Melis, I have Big Bro Melis, I have my nephews, but they were into video games for a long time, so that was easy. Minecraft, done. Think my parents and I, we all chipped in and got a bunch of creeper stuff one year. And I mean, like, yeah, I had a boyfriend before realizing I was gay. But we only dated for 1 year, so I think I made, like, I was really into hand-making stuff. I think I made him a needle-felted plushie of, like, his favorite Pokemon. I think that's what I did. Or I attempted to. I wasn't very good, but... It's Diana Mellis and Dana Mellis. Friends once told me for Christmas, stop buying shit. I actually had that conversation with Iduna once, and I'm like, girl, around the holidays, you need to stop buying stuff you want. Because, like, you know, you'll be like, oh my god, I really want this thing. And I'm like, okay, excellent. And then, like, you know, payday comes and she's like, yay, I bought the thing. And I'm like, ah, thank God I haven't ordered it yet. I'm like, girl, stop, pause. It's like it got to the point where for a while I was like, I would get her a tiny something for Christmas so she would have something to actually open, but like her quote-unquote main gift had already been bought / paid for like months ago. Because I just started going, she's like, oh my god, I want this thing, but I don't know. I'm like, do you want me to buy this for you as your Christmas present? And she's like, okay. I'm like, done. Cool. The worst was, 1 year, Iduna had been having a really hard time, and we happened to all be at an anime convention. So, her husband, who at the time, like, they were just dating, he's like, Diana, so there's, like, a figure of Seto Kaiba that, like, we're all gonna chip in and get for her, but you need to make sure she doesn't see it elsewhere in the dealer's room and buy it. And oh, the heavy lifting I had to do. Because of course she found it, and of course she's like, I want it. And I'm like, I can't ruin this surprise. But how am I how do I talk her out of this? I don't remember how I did it. Somehow I managed. I think I told her to wait until the Sunday in case they because sometimes the dealers in anime conventions on the last day, they will discount stuff, so they have less stuff that they have to haul back to their stores. I think I told her, I'm like, just wait for the Sunday. And then, you know, Saturday night, I'm like, did you buy the thing yet? Yeah? It's like, good. Give it to her ASAP. It took everything I had to stop her. Like, I don't know if I can do it again. It's like, you know, Spider-Man stopping the train. Your friends literally pulled out reference data. Oh my god. Well, I haven't done that to a Duda, but yeah. It really did feel like that. If plans got cancelled, you don't have to go out. Yippee! I mean, no, bad. Don't rot into the bed. Do not meld into the bed. Oh my god, that reminded me. I need to go back to that, because I've been doing micro-reading stuff, right? One of the units in, like, the course that I'm doing was about, sleep health. And it was all this stuff that, like, you know, you're depriving yourself of by not sleeping enough. And it was like, they're like, did you know? During deep REM sleep, it is the only time where your body does not produce, stress hormones. So if you don't get REM sleep, your body is technically always stressed. And during REM sleep, that is usually when your body processes, like traumatic or like scary, sad things because it's a stress-free time. And then they were like, did you know? Sleep deprivation causes increased social isolation. Because not only does it make you more hypervigilant, so you're less likely to want to spend time with people, apparently, when you're sleep deprived, people instinctively know and they don't want to spend time with you either. They did a study where they showed people pictures of like different people, and some of them were sleep deprived, but not like obviously sleep deprived. And the people were like, just looking at this person makes me feel sad. This is sounding a little bit too, And as I'm reading all of this, I'm like, huh. I should tell this to all the moonbeams who have terrible sleep schedules. It's okay. The whole being sleep deprived makes people want to spend less time with you. They hit me really hard too. Because I do sleep, and I do have a proper sleep schedule, but I'm often tired. So I'm like, oh. Are you telling me people can tell? And they're like, ew, don't talk to Diana. She makes me feel sad just looking at her. Friends do send you a way to actually sleep. Yeah, see? Yeah. It's based on the thing that I guess humans can instinctively tell when you're sleep deprived, and that makes them like feel negatively towards you instinctively. Because it's like being sleep deprived makes you feel more lonely, and I guess looking at someone who's sleep deprived can also make you feel lonely, and therefore don't wanna be around them. Makes sense? Yeah, if you think of it from, like, you know, the evolutionary perspective, being sleep deprived makes you, you'd probably be more likely for a predator to come at you, so people aren't gonna want to be around you. The same way, you know, a lot of the times they won't stay around members of the herd that are sick. depending on the species, because I know there are some species out there that actually take care of their sick, but I think it's elephants. Elephants and whales, I think. You're getting self-conscious. All according to Keikaku, but also oops. I mean, as I always say, you can lead the horse to water, but you can't make him drink. You can set people up with all of this information, but if they don't want to fix whatever the issue is, there ain't nothing you can do. If they don't think there's an issue, then just follow along to pick them up when they fall flat on their face. Sometimes that's all you can do. I want to play games, though. I understand. What do they call it? Revenge procrastination is a real thing. The counterpoint is if you get proper sleep, you can wake up earlier and then game then. But then the difficulty is if you want to play games with other people who do not follow your same schedule, and then it's like, that's how I mostly hear about people ruining their sleep schedules. Is they're like, well, like, you know, I want to play like multiplayer stuff, and then it's like, well, you're all cooked. It's like potato patata, you know? I used to always be envious of people who could do all-nighters or stay up late because I never could. It's just not how my body was built. But then everyone was always like, no, don't do it, it's terrible. And now, fast forward a decade, all the people who did all-nighters and stuff, they can't stay awake past 9 p.m. And I'm the one that's able to, like, function on, like, only, like, 5 hours of sleep. Help! Yeah, I'm pretty sure in a lot of cases, those games will ping you if you have notifications on if, like, your friend starts playing or whatever. Like, every time I start up, like, ZZZ in Discord, half the time they're like, oh, hey! Zon Arc last played this a couple days ago. Do you want to message them and ask them to play? I'm like, no! Oh, yeah, Nintendo Switch, that would do it. If you're playing on Switch, yep. So what I'm hearing is Zexu had no idea that he was being monitored, and now he's embarrassed. RIP! That is so funny. I mean, first of all, it's Fortnite. What the heck? Of all the things, you are like the most basic nerd I've ever met. If you were my age and we had been together in high school, you would have been one of the bros sitting in the school corridor with their laptop, frantically playing Halo their entire lunch break. you played League, so my point still stands. My point still stands. Did I tell you guys about the one and only time that I played Halo? And I nearly won the match? Because, I played it once. Because here's what happened. Played an FPS? Not technically. Here's the funny story. Because it was 2 of my roommates and 2 of our friends had come over. And they were playing like a 4v4, like local co-op. And one of them was like, I'm gonna go outside and smoke. And they just throw the controller at me. They're like, Diana, don't let me die. And the entire time, I'm asking everyone in the room, like, how do you shoot? How do you do this? How do you do that? Whatever. And, like, no one's telling me anything. Either because they thought I was annoying, or they're like, don't tell her anything. She's an easy target. I outmaneuvered everyone. I lost when it was just 1v1 because they still didn't tell me how to, like, actually, like, fire the weapons and all that stuff. But I outmaneuvered and outfoxed everyone. Literally, I had to give myself up to finish because they could not catch me. Because literally they're like, the fuck, where's Diana? Like, the person came back in from smoking and they're like, you guys are still playing? They're like, we can't find Diana. So it's like, every time we see her, it's like, we think we see her, it's like, no, it's like a shadow. And they're like, Diana, where are you? I'm like, I don't know. I just keep turning corners. We can't find Diana is such a line. It's like when your cat hides in the house and you're like, oh shit. Did they get outside? Has anyone seen them recently? And like, you know, they're hiding and it's like, they're hiding under the couch or something. And it's like, what the frick? We looked here. What? Where have you been? Or like, you can't even find them and they just suddenly show up like, meow, is it dinner? So yes, that was, I think that was technically my second FPS experience. The first time I had asked a friend if I could try, but they did explain that friendly fire was a thing. And you know, I had never picked up any of those games before. So of course, I don't know. And then finally, someone in the local co-op, because it was a LAN party. For those of you who don't know what a LAN party is, it was when everyone would bring their computers, like bring their rig to someone's basement and all play together, all hooked up. And then finally someone was like, who the frick keeps shooting our teammates? And I was like, you can shoot your teammates? They're like, yeah. I'm like, no one told me. These people did not want to be here either. Because I was not part of this gamer group. The person hosting the LAN party had a major crush on me. And they were like, oh, like, yeah, I'm having a party this week. And I'm like, oh, can I come to the party? And they're like, oh, well, you know, we're just going to be playing video games. And I'm like, I love watching people play video games. And they're like, oh, okay. You have a small request right before the gaming begins? Okay, what's your request? And yes, I was just gunning down everybody. Was the very first time I ever touched one of those games, so yeah, I had no idea. And the person who gave me their computer did not tell me anything. Can I make myself small and stand on the table? Sure. Hang on, let me hide some stuff, or... Well, we'll see. One sec. Because I know what you want, so... I have to do it like this, otherwise... It still does the work. It does. Hang on. Do. Whoops. Nope, not that. Like that. So pretty, right? My mama did a fantastic job. She designed this all herself, and I was like, yeah! It's perfect. I gave her references of like the Atelier series for what I wanted, and she just ran with it. But yes, let me know when I can unmini. There we go. Am I in the right spot? Do I need to hide anything? Do I need to hide the chat bubble, or...? You're done? Okay. Photography! Yeah! Photography! Oh my gosh, I'm so small on the other screen. I will unshrink myself, but... Boink, here I am. Where's Dee Dee? There's Dee Dee. Small. There we go. Remember when I was the teeniest, tiniest? Big head, tiny cat? Those were the days. Alright. Let me get the sound set up. There we go. Should be good, it's just there's no audio on this screen. I am the tiniest. I am the smallest. It's making me think of Invader Zim. Hey, my tallest! My tallest! My tallest! The ye old days. There we go. Why'd you take it out? They make room for the cupcakes. That was like that was the most quoted series back in the day. Also, people made a lot of videos using audio from Invader Zim and splicing it into Full Metal Alchemist because Edward Short, right? And then Alphonse was, oh, what was the dog? Grim? No, wasn't Grim, but yeah. Alright. So yeah, we've got a new Beatrice in town. She's scary as frick. She's a sadist. Even more so than the original Beatrice. We have made a big mistake. Like, look at that face. She's like, yay, I get to torture people, yahoo! Girl. Girl, why are you like this? You're so terrifying. Well, I do understand. Because, yeah, there we go. It was almost infinitely close to her parting shot, so after Beato vanished, the witch and her furniture doubled over laughing. Well, I do understand. The endless power is fun. The joy of freely toying with an extremely limited life cannot be explained to those who have not tasted it. Ah, yeah. I'm sure everyone secretly wants to torture people. Lies. I can understand that feeling of being possessed with a pleasure similar to drugs. It must have been quite fun, judging by your antics in the past. Are you saying it's just like when you tried to admonish me in the past over and over and I did not listen? Hey, surprise! Sometimes that is indeed how it ends up working out. Why have you started trying to scold that child for her actions? Well, there's a single large difference between you and that child. That child may already be a witch. Of course, you are also a witch. At least, in the world of the top, on top of the game board. However, to be acknowledged as a witch in the world outside the game board, you need to have BattlerCon, your opponent in this game, acknowledge you. You must have understood that when you started the game. I thought that if I could show off a whirlwind of proof that I am a witch, blow away his desire to deny me and make him surrender, he would acknowledge me as a witch. It all went my way last time, so I thought I was just a breath away. It's actually the opposite. BattlerCon was disgusted by your brutality. He did not step up to the plate as a player because he acknowledged you as a worthy opponent. It was based on a strong animosity, his resolve to completely deny the existence of a brutal witch. In your foolishness, you probably felt that BattlerCon's acceptance of his role as your opponent was a first step towards making him acknowledge you as a witch. However, it was actually the opposite. BattlerCon challenged you in this game because he was absolutely determined not to acknowledge you. No matter how hard the thoughtless north wind blows, the traveler only wears his cloak even tighter. You are committing a huge error from the very beginning. This game is not torture to make BattlerCon surrender. It is a test in which you must try to make BattlerCon accept you. I vaguely noticed that. That last game was a tough one for Battler. That last game was a tough game, one for Battler. Oh, it was Regalia that said it. Wrong nuance. The last game was a tough one for Battler. But as it seems you've already noticed. This game is a tough one for you. What should I do from now on? Think about it for yourself. Fortunately, you have already given up your piece on the game board to the new witch. You should have plenty of time to reflect upon your actions. But Battler's already a massive hostility to me. Well, whose fault is that? He won't accept witches, so he won't accept me. In that case, what can I do to make him accept me? Are you saying that if the north wind doesn't work, then I should shine on him as the sun from now on? Me? After all this time? Do you catch more flies with honey than vinegar, as they say? It's October now, the Halloween season. It's the month of rebirth, when the sun dies and is revived again. When the sun is weak right after reviving, it may not reach far through the cold winter winds. However, it slowly grows and is eventually able to hail the coming of spring. At that time, the traveler may even fold up his cloak. Are you saying that I've been mistaken? Of course not. The beautiful hall of the Ushinomiya mansion was covered with a golden sparkle like gold leaf, and stained deep red with thick spurts of blood. The number of deaths given to Rudolph and Kire had long surpassed anything you could count on both your fingers and your toes. Yikes! The witch was breathing so hard her shoulders shook. But it wasn't because she was tired. She just couldn't hide her ragged breasts, caused by her still uncontainable excitement. What an absolutely fricked up child. How fun it is to do as I will with people's lives and deaths. With the power of the endless witch, the endless everything I paint with my mind becomes reality. No matter how sloppily I mash them, I can revive them, returning them to normal with just the snap of my fingers. Because in the end, I still have to restore the corpses and follow the epitaph as an afterthought. Hey, you guys, have you ever sliced a stuffed animal's stomach open? Never? What about you, 45? No! I've never done it, my apologies! That's understandable. Normally you wouldn't. Especially not if it was a stuffed animal you liked. But I've always thought about it. I've always thought about peeking in and seeing what was packed inside this fluffy stuffed animal I loved. What the hell? You cut it and looked inside, your curiosity might be quelled, but the stuffed animal would be broken. So even though you want to see, you can't. You understand? that feeling, right? The power of the Endless Witch can truly grant that wish. As I am now, I can slice the stuffed animal all I want. And yet, with a bit of magic, I can return it to normal and revive it. In other words, it means I've broken all limitations in this world. As I am now, I don't have to hesitate or give up an idea or anything. That joy, there's probably no one who can understand it. No one other than me, the Golden Witch. As the witch let out a mad war cry, she revived Rudolph and Kyrie again. And faster than they could realize, she killed them right away. Jeez! Girl! As she made it known that something other than cotton was stuffed inside those two. Quit it, Ava! Huh? It's you. How long have you been there? In that gruesome hall, Hideyoshi appeared with his gun ready. The witch had sealed the mansion with a barrier, so Hideyoshi had nowhere to run. He probably picked up Rudolph or Kyrie's gun and come back. The gun, which should have been something to be feared, was apparently no longer an object she took seriously, now that she was overflowing with a magical power. Her bold expression didn't flinch in the slightest. Why did you have to kill Rosa-san and Maria-chan and Rudolph-kun and Kirie-san? Huh? I am the head of the Ushinomiya family, the Witch of Rokenjima. Everything that occurs on this island is all up to me. Whether they happen to be alive or dead at any particular moment in time is meaningless to me. You went mad after finding Father's gold. Just how high must that gold have been piled? I can't even imagine it. Must have been enough to steal away your sanity. But if there was that much gold, why didn't you think of graciously splitting it up? You misunderstand. All of that belongs to the Golden Witch. No one is qualified to touch it except me. What are you? Don't tell me you're that thing Ava told me about long ago. The witch Ava from when she was young? That's right. I am the me from my years as a girl who's been living in the heart of your wife, Ushinomiya Ava, this whole time. And I am a witch. Ava became an adult by forgetting me, so she can't use magic. All kids get their heads filled with innocent but cruel ideas sometimes. When I was young, I'd sometimes go around stepping on ants and pulling the wings off dragonflies. Really? I've never thought about that. However, I learned the importance of life and graduated from that cruel childhood age. Right now, you really are a child. A personality that I know Ava graduated from. That personality isn't Ava. It's a completely different human. Yeah, that's right. I am not Ushinomiya Ava. I'm the Golden Witch, Beatrice. Girl! It's so fun not being bound by any limitations. And the pleasure of being able to do as I will with life and death is truly wonderful. I don't have to apologize for breaking a goldfish bowl, and I can tear stuffed animals up as much as I want. Oof. Yeah, she got smacked. She deserves that. There was a crisp sound. It was the sound of Hideyoshi slapping the witch's face. Looking at the hall stained deep red with fresh blood, he should have been able to imagine how terrible the witch was. But without fear, without even hesitating, Hideyoshi had walked determinedly up to her and hit her on the cheek. You fool! Don't act like you're cruel! Not when you're really a coward and a weakling! I'll correct that evil nature of yours again if I have to! You fool! Fool! Ow! Ow! Hey! You're a woman who understands how important, how fragile a life is, aren't you? I'll make you remember. What are you calling a witch, you stupid fool? You're my wife, Ushino Mia Eva! I think she's kind of like a separate being at this point, but, kudos to you for being bold. If anything, you're a witch of the kitchen who can always make the perfect snacks out of the refrigerator leftovers in a flash. That's slightly sexist, but okay. Won't you open your eyes, you fool? Didn't I just tell you that I'm not Ushino Mia Eva? You stupid fool. You! As tears dripped down his face, Hideyoshi kept hitting the witch's head. He wasn't even pointing the gun at her anymore. Therefore, the son of gunfire couldn't have come from the gun Hideyoshi was holding. Ouch. The gun, which had fallen in the corner near Rudolph's corpse, was floating in the air, and smoke lingered near the barrel. And the bullet? A red stain was slowly spreading across the chest section of Hideyoshi's vest. Even though his back was facing the barrel of the gun, the bullet had driven through Hideyoshi's chest. Ava. Like I said, I'm not Ava. What a stupid, annoying man. You're a pain, so I'll switch the sacrifice of the sixth twilight to you. If only you just hidden under some bed shaking or something, I planned on letting you go. But no, you went to all the trouble of coming back. You really are a stupid man. There was a dull sound as Hideyoshi fell to the floor. Even though death would have allowed him to escape from that pain, he resisted until the last second, and staring straight into the witch's eyes, he passed away. Because he had died without closing his eyes, the witch didn't realize that he was dead for a short while, and remained pinned by that gaze. Should we make this one a new toy and play? At those words, the witch finally realized that Hideyoshi was dead. Yeah, right. What'll we do? The Cheister sisters waited for instructions. On the inside, they imagined the sort of even more brutal orders their master might give. The expression that rose to the witch's face looked as though she'd gotten over her excitement. She looked down at Hideyoshi's face, which still had tears dripping down. It's such a killjoy, and it's all this guy's fault. I'm done. Ronov, are you there? Yes, right here. Take care of the cleanup. I'll bet the predecessor Summer makes a fuss over this one. Please make it clean enough for that old hag to accept. I guess I'll follow the rules of the ceremony out of a sense of obligation to my predecessor. Treat these 3 corpses as the 4th through 6th twilights. Lucifer, it's your turn. Lucifer of Pride, right here. Dig into these 3 corpses and gouge them. Into corpses? That's right. Got a problem with that? No. The 7 Sisters of Purgatory had their own sort of pride. It was the pride of a hunter, the pride of gouging prey that they had brought down themselves. Why is she acting like that when she's bottomless? Excuse me? What, you think not having pants means you can't have pride? Yes? Nah. That's just a leotard. Ballerinas wear that all the time. It's just a leotard. Have you ever been to the ballet? That's all ballerinas wear, plus tights and, like, the tutu. This ain't much different. The person wears the clothes. The clothes don't wear the person. But yes, hello, Luna. Welcome in. Of course, the witch didn't mean it that way, but for the 7 sisters, it was horribly humiliating. However, they had already screwed this up, with 2 of her sisters defeated. So they had no right to question her. Only Ronov appreciated this, and he rested his hand on her shoulder in understanding. This is an order from Beatrice Summer. Lucifer, carry these 3 and dispose of them in accordance with the etiquette of the ceremony. Then, when you're done, lend me a hand with the cleanup. Certainly. The witch looked down upon Hideyoshi's corpse as though implying that the now delicate atmosphere was all Hideyoshi's fault. Stupid man. He did even have to die. Then why kill him? Oh, yep. Dear, where are you? You're there, right? Answer me. The crash of a thunderbolt woke Ava from her nightmare. If Hideyoshi had been gripping her hand at that time, her fearful heart would probably have been instantly healed. However, Hideyoshi, who had supposedly sworn that he wouldn't leave even for a moment, was nowhere to be seen in the room. Dear? Answer me? Dear? Well, your inner greed manifested and killed your husband. Congratulations. 30 minutes had already passed since Rudolph's group had left the guest house. By any measure, their return was too late, and Klaus and Natsuhi, who waited by the entrance, were reaching the limits of their patience. So what, you're gonna run out into the storm too? Bad idea. chain was set on the door. This was a precaution in the event that Rudolph's group was attacked and the master key stolen from them. For that reason, they needed to wait by the entrance like this for the others to return. We really are too late. Don't you think something might have happened to them? Indeed. Kraus glanced between his watch and the door, struggling to keep his composure. If something happened to prevent them from returning. A terrible thought, but it seems we should ready ourselves for that possibility. So, it really was too reckless after all. That is what I said! Why did they go outside when they knew it was this dangerous? How foolish! Why go outside even though Rosa-san had just been attacked? Nothing will come of saying that now. At any rate, there are now 3 adults in the guest house. Me, you, and Ava. He's asleep with a high fever. Does George not count? I mean, technically he's 21. He is a legal adult in Japan. At that time, the forceful sound of the door being opened came from the hallway, and they heard Ava's panicked voice. That voice kept calling out Hideyoshi's name. It seemed as though she had had a bad dream or something due to her fever, and was calling for her husband. Ava-san? What is it? Are you okay? Where's my husband? My husband isn't here! Though he promised he'd stay with me the whole time! Though he promised that he'd grasp my hand the whole time! Kraus was struck dumb by that attitude of hers, which she had never shown in front of him before, but not so he understood her feelings. Calm down. Hideyoshi-san is with Rudolph-san and Kirie-san right now. And they're outside right now. Outside? What? Why? Why did he go outside? After he promised that he'd stay with me the whole time. You mustn't go outside. The witch is outside. You mustn't go. You'll be killed. Is she beating her head against the wall? Ava? Calm yourself. Hideyoshi-san returned to the mansion with Rudolph and Kirie-san. Why did he have to go to the mansion? Why did he go outside even though it's safe here? Why did he go back? They went to get enough food to last until tomorrow. Hideyoshi-san was worried about your health and said that was partly why he wanted to go. When will they come back? When will they come back? Don't go outside. Don't go to the rose garden. Don't go to the mansion. The witch is there. The golden witch is walking about. If she finds you, you'll be killed. You'll definitely be killed. When will my husband come back? They left here 30 minutes ago. We are waiting for their return. 30 minutes ago? Isn't that strange? Why would it take so much time for them to go to the mansion to get food and then come back? Why are you two just standing around here? Oh my god, did realize we had to march to the beat of your drum, milady? We have to go get them! We have to hurry to where they are! definitely had quite a nightmare. You think? She's like a whole different person now. I mean, based on what we've seen in the other chapters, at least part of Ava's persona is just a front. Because she felt like she had to act a certain way to be able to succeed in society, and I mean, she's not wrong. Especially in the 80s, and she grew up in the 60s as well. Like, I wasn't going outside with somebody named the Golden Witches walking around. See, this is something I was complaining about yesterday. Cause, you know, they're like, oh, we need to go to the mansion to get food. Like, we're out of food. They're acting like, you know, it's been days since they've eaten. They had breakfast. They just said it's midday. It's like, it's the afternoon. They haven't even gone 6 hours and they're like, oh God, we're going to die of hunger. We need to go outside and get food. People can technically last for days without food as long as they have water. And all they have to do is wait 24 hours for the typhoon to pass and the boat to come. But no, all we had for breakfast was crackers and tuna. We need to get more food, you spoiled rich people. Y'all have apparently never gone more than like 4 hours in your life without eating something, apparently. I'm like, y'all. Like, literally, it's a hilarious plot point. Like, I get it. Because, like, it sucks to be hungry. Like, it's definitely painful. Because your stomach's trying to digest itself. But it's like, when your choice is life and death. And I mean, technically they could have probably ration the food a little better. Like, I'm not sure how much there was, but, you know, they could have just had the crackers. And then 4 hours later had, like, you know, split, like, the cans of tuna. Like, you only need enough to keep you from passing out. I mean, it's an island in the wilderness. Like, what? There's no rats here? You guys got guns? I mean, I wouldn't recommend eating rats, but if you were that desperate, like... I mean, like, if anything, the ones that should have been losing their minds is, Maria. Because she's like 10 years old. It's really hard for little kids to go too long without eating. The teenagers and the adults should have been okay-ish. Teenagers, especially Battler, because he's a boy and bigger and still growing, he might have a hard time, but a rat might be getting cooked, not gonna lie. I mean, yeah, that's the thing, right? The reason I say I wouldn't recommend it is just because, you know, any wild animal you catch could have disease. And, you know, these people don't know how to hunt or anything. So it's like, don't really recommend. But, I mean, if you're that desperate... was also talking about how, you can also trick yourself into stalling your hunger by, like, eating ice. Because even though it's water, the fact you're chewing, like, kind of, like, tricks your body into thinking you ate something. And so your stomach feels full for a little bit. But yeah, there's lots of ways they could have managed. Like, all they needed to do was manage for 12 hours. The adults need to stay awake to make sure no one broke in, but the kids could just sleep it off. And I mean, Hideyoshi was like, oh yeah, we need to get food, because if there's no food, Ava can't take her medicine. I'm like, you can't technically take medicine without food. You're just at a greater risk of having, like, an upset stomach. Or, like, heartburn, or, like, that kind of stuff. It's like, technically, I mean, worst case scenario, it does make her throw up. Once you throw up your medicine, the problem solves itself. And then it's like, okay, well, we're not doing that again. And because Ava had probably had quite a nightmare, and because it had continued even after she woke up, she could no longer hide her panic. But yeah, we were drinking a lot of energy drinks. Yeah, I mean, you were hydrating, technically. Taken without eating does bellyache, but they still worked, yeah. Like, my meds, if I don't take them with food, it basically triggers, like, heartburn. But literally, when that happens, if I throw up, the problem solves itself because, you know, it's the medicine interacting with the stomach acid that's causing the problem. So you get rid of the medicine, problem solved. But God, yeah, even when my anemia was really bad, I could still... Like, the only time I ever fainted from my anemia was from not having much to eat over a 24-hour period. So in theory, even in this situation, I'd be okay. Like, come the morning, someone might have to piggyback me to the boat, because I don't know if I'd be able to walk from how weak I'd be, but... Oh, you mean the scar above my eye? Yes, that one. But yeah, it's like, y'all, if the person with the health condition could have survived this situation, y'all got no excuse. Like, what a privileged life. Like, have any of y'all even done your own grocery shopping? Stretching also can cause you to black out? Yeah, I could see it, because it's changing your blood pressure. Natsuhi tried calming her down, but all it did was make Ava's emotions explode even more. Yeah, telling people to calm down never works. That never works. Like, I appreciate. But yeah, that works. Every time I stretch, everything turns black. That is not normal. I mean, I've definitely gotten lightheaded from working out too much. But yeah, technically, if you're healthy, that's not supposed to happen. Maybe they heard that disturbance. Battler and the kids who had supposedly been on the second floor were peeking their faces through the crack of the lobby door. Kraus, Natsuhi, Ava, and Battler, George, Jessica, and Nanjo. Oh yeah, they were like 3 adults. What about Nanjo? Does he not count as an adult just because he's like a middle-aged man? house had gathered by the entrance and understood the current situation. I agree with Mother. We should go check on Father and the rest. Yeah, that's right. It's even possible that their load's too heavy and they're having trouble carrying it. They should welcome some extra hands. This happened right after Rosa-san was attacked. This may have been a secondary disaster connected to that. We should act with caution here and... Don't be a fool! What do you mean, caution? Oh, hi. You were listening to us. Oopsies. Hello, Mother. How you doing? You good? Are you saying we should let my husband die even though he might be begging for help? He could already be dead, I mean... Like, I don't want to be that person, but you know? The typhoon atmosphere is doing wonders. It's time for EPs. I'm going to look and the cowards can stay here. Okay, bye. It's your fault they're dead anyway. Looking agitated, Ava raised her gun. Judging by her face, it would be useless for anyone to try and stop her. Wanted to play more games tonight, but it's fine. It's fine. If your body's telling you to rest, it's usually a good idea. George, who realized that first, raised his head. I'll go as well. You will too, right, Battler-kun? The more people, the better. Sure. And Ava, we're coming, even if you tell us not to. I'm coming too. I can't be the only one to hide in a safe place. Jessica, you must not go outside. Stay here with me. Got it? It was like they were implying that those three had already been killed anyway, so going outside would be pointless. Nasuhi realized that Ava felt like her heart had been gouged out, but she spoke out strongly as Jessica's mother. You're right. That should be fine. Let's have Nisan's family keep an eye on the guest house. This is a problem for my family and Battler-kun's. I wonder if Dr. Nanjo would mind coming along too? I think he does indeed mind. Just in case. Well, off they go. Just like that, it's almost 9 p.m. Wow, time flies with this game. In the hall of the mansion, Battler, Ava, George, and Nanjo found the corpses of Rudolph, Kirie, and Hideyoshi. The 4th through 6th twilights? Then the corpses were pierced through the forehead, chest, and stomach with those demon stakes? Yes. The demon stakes were buried into them, one in Rudolph's forehead, one in Hideyoshi's chest, and one in Kirie's stomach. The disorder of the clothing on all three suggests they were fighting or running away. Since the three corpses were not found right next to each other, It is hypothesized that after coming into contact with the culprit, they attempted some form of resistance. They had stakes in the forehead, chest, and stomach. Horrible, just like usual. Even though Ronov knew it would be superfluous, he contemplated telling Battler the truth. Normally, the witch would have killed them in a much, much more horrible way. The corpses had been left in this manner only because Beato had suggested to the witch that she show restraint. The new witch, thinking it would fit well enough as long as she gouged them with stakes, would probably have just stuck a stake into a lump of meat that wasn't even shaped like a human. Rosa and Maria's corpses were a particularly striking example. If they had been killed as the Golden Witch had wished, just how gruesome would the corpses have been? Beato had changed that into the still better kind of killing Battler had mentioned earlier. Wanting to have Beato's small bit of thoughtfulness appreciated, he thought of telling Battler about this. But, judging by Battler's eyes, that might do more harm than good. To humans, the gap between being alive and being dead is very large. Saying that she'd given them better deaths might have made it possible for a demon to understand her feelings and pardon her. But there was no way a human would be so accepting. Understanding this, Ronov remained silent, despite knowing of Beato's modest efforts. Just like usual, let's start by checking whether the corpses are dead. Ronov, please declare it in red. Hey, can't you hear me? Please declare it in red. Repeat it. Rudolph, Kirie, and Hideyoshi are dead. My apologies. Allow me to decline from repeating that. The hell? What are you planning all of a sudden? By now proclaiming that the victims were dead in red was almost a given in this battle. Refusing to do so was almost like losing by default. So when Ronov refused as part of his first move, Battler was dumbfounded. My apologies. As of this moment, I relinquish my position as Milady's representative. Accordingly, I cannot repeat that in red. The only one qualified to repeat that is Milady. His point is a valid one. Ronov is only a representative for Beato's side. If he steps down from that position, and if he will not accept Beato as an opponent, a new representative must be named. No new representative exists. Please, Battler-sama, please accept Milady as your game partner once more. Sorry, but that's advice I can't listen to. I definitely won't accept that unpleasant, cruel bastard as my opponent. My refusal to accept her is why I can't step down from this game. As to her being unpleasant, I apologize in Milady's stead. Allow me to pledge that Milady will not undertake such unpleasant actions again. I wonder about that. Battler-kun, I also want to apologize as that child's teacher. I'll give that child a good talking to, so please, offer your forgiveness just this once. Hey, enough of that! You're making it sound like I'm the bad guy. No matter how much you guys apologize, it won't reach my ears. If Beato can say that from her own lips, well, I might listen to her. Understood. If that is your only condition for acknowledging your opponent again, let us have that child apologize. Ronov, call for that child. Will that be all right, Battler-kun? Sheesh. Do whatever you want. Still, don't expect me to forgive her. Go get that irritating witch. You have my thanks, Battler-sama. I shall summon her here. Milady, Battler-sama is calling for you. After a few heartbeats, gold butterflies gathered together in midair and created Beeto's form. It was a much more docile appearance than the one she's made before. Did you call, Ronoff? I believe you heard. Is there something you have to say from your own lips? It looked as though Beeto shrunk slightly under Battler's cold gaze. Several times, Beeto made an effort to get the words out of her mouth, but that didn't work so well, and she was just as awkward as someone trying to light a match during a freezing winter with icy hands. Even as she did that, the game board was advancing. In the hall, they had just found the corpses of the new victims and had broken down crying. Oh, yep. Rest in pieces. Mother, hang in there. Even for me, it's crushing. So sad. They probably died instantly after being, murdered a few dozen times, but whatever. I'm sure that even if we had arrived immediately after they fell, it would have been too late. No, that's wrong. They were definitely alive. His chest was stabbed with something like this. My husband must have died in extreme pain. If we had come faster, surely they would have been saved. They would have definitely been saved. It must be tough for you too, Battler-kun, but stay strong. Okay. It's okay, Aniki. I'm gonna cry just a bit longer. I've got it the best. I should be the least sad. So if you just let me cry just a little longer, I'll be fine. That isn't true. I can understand how much it hurts your heart to have lost both parents. I still have a mother. That's much better than what you're going through, Battler-kun. No, that's wrong. It's gotta be the toughest for you, George Aniki. I understand, Aniki. In this group, you're the saddest and the one who has it toughest. I understand that. So I can't keep on sobbing like this. Why do you say it's toughest for me? To me, Dad and Kyrie were probably people I'd eventually split up with when I grew up and became independent. Since their parents, it was fated that they die before their kids. It just happened a little early, that's all. But it's different for you, Aniki. You did just lose your parents, who you would have parted ways with eventually. You also lost Shannon-chan, someone you should have spent the rest of your life with. You can't value human lives differently. Whether it's a baby or an old person, they should all be respected the same. But still, the more life that person has ahead of them, the longer the future you're building together is, the sadder the fact of their death is. Aniki, you were engaged to Shannon-chan, right? You promised that you'd build a life and a home together in the future, right? Compared to how huge that future was, compared to how huge that happiness was, stuff like my pain doesn't even come close. So, you should be allowed to cry much, much more, Aniki. And yet, just because you act like a big brother to us cousins, you force yourself to act like you're calm. Stop it, Battler-kun. George was trying to make a calm smile. But already, he couldn't stop a single hot tear from leaving a streak down his face. There's no way I wouldn't be sad, right? I paint together with Shaman. I painted a picture of many futures in my mind. We talked of dreams that could it all come true, even if we lived 100 years. Of those dreams, even the very first one, having her move into my family register, could not be granted. That makes it sound so clinical when they're like moving into the family register, but like that. It's basically like it's basically the equivalent of, oh, like I couldn't even have her take my last name kind of thing. So there's no way I wouldn't be sad, right? Compared to that, I have no right to cry anymore. Y'all, it is not a misery contest. It's fine. Y'all can all be really sad that your parents are dead. It's fine. Like, you know, your fiance. It's not a misery party. Y'all have not been taught that it's okay to cry. That's why y'all are like this. Even when you're struggling to hold it in, I have no right to shed any more tears. We're the same. We both feel the same sadness from losing those close to us. So there's no rule that says you can't shed any more tears than me, Battler. Come. And for me too, there's no rule that says I have to hold back my tears any longer, is there? Oh my god. Shannon, the one who shared my dreams of the future, is dead. See, they can't have pride. Because they have pants? I don't know about them. So what, if you're wearing a skirt, you can't have pride? Is that it? What about a shirt? Can you have pride if you don't have a shirt? Father's dead too. Everybody dying. It's sad. It's so sad. I get it. You're sad, I'm sad, everybody's sad. As Battler and George hugged each other tightly, they cried a waterfall of tears over each other's shoulders. Oh, the bromance, the bromance. Do you understand why I said George Anarchy had it the toughest? I was listening, so I understand. Your sadness is proportional to the length of time you would have been able to spend with that person afterwards. Of course, you can't calculate it just like that, though. We humans aren't like you witches. Oh, I see. Okay. From the time we receive life to the moment we die, we can live within that limited period. As we live within that limited period, as strongly as we can manage. And I can't forgive anyone who makes light of that. And I definitely can't forgive anyone who sneers at people and toys with them. A person like you, whose very concept of death is all screwed up, probably can't understand that. Soto! Hello! Hi, hi! Yo, yo, yo! Hi, everybody! Yahoo! Mambo, mambo, mambo! Hi, 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 everybody! How you doing? So you guys were just chatting? Anything particularly exciting or fun you guys were chatting about? Let me know. If you got a raid and run, totally understand. How's UMINEKO going? Oh, pretty good. We are in chapter 3, so we're almost done with the question arcs. How many? Oh god, most of the cast is gone at this point. I was just about to say this is the 6th death, but no, it's the 6th Twilights. Which means I think technically 12 people are dead. Gone for a bit because of internet issues. Oh no. Oh, that's the worst. I'm glad you're back. Welcome back to the internet. There have been a few fires since you were gone, but fortunately we were able to put them out. Breaking Bad? Oh my gosh, Breaking Bad. I never got into Breaking Bad, but I know, very, very popular. At this point, it is like passively absorbed into my veins. But yes, hello everyone. For those who don't know me, hello. I'm Diana. Am I quiet? Am I quiet? Oh, maybe a smidge. Maybe a smidge. There we go. Now I'm in the yellow. Sometimes with UMINEKO, I end up turning myself down a little bit. Because when I get very into the voice acting, my voice tends to spike. But thank you for letting me know. Ooh, big stretch already. Way better? Okay, that's good, that's good. Thank you for letting me know. Alright, so yeah, we're in the, what is it, the 4th, 5th, and 6th Twilights have just occurred in UMINEKO. So per the Witch's Sacrifice, we are almost done. Who's left? Klaus, Natsuhi, Jessica, Ava, George, Battler, and Nanjo. Just those 7, I think. Well, when the seagulls cry, none will be left. You are so correct. Yeah, I think we're like 75% of the way done this chapter. And then after that, it's just one more. And we're done the question arcs. Then it's the answer arcs. Where everything will suddenly make sense, but not really. Because just because you're getting answers doesn't mean it's going to make sense. Right now, Balor's just admonishing Beatrice because he's finally had enough of her. Because he's just like, you're way too twisted for me to understand. And so they had a big fight. And now they're slowly making up, you know, as couples do. Not really a couple, but like close enough. Close enough, you know. But yes, if anyone wants to avoid spoilers, understandable if you gotta run off. I know you guys are in Europe as well, so it is later over there. Otherwise, happy to have you guys around. We'll be going for a little bit longer anyway. So settle in, buckle up. I'm not just mad because of the length of time they would have lived afterwards. It's sneering at the lives of people living with all they've got. That's what I can't forgive the most. George Aniki lived his life by recklessly doing his best. He must have approached this day with a grim resolve to marry Shannon-chan no matter the challenges. That's completely different from me, since I was happy just to be able to meet my cousins after a long while. But still, Beetle, for now, stay silent and listen. Indeed. In a way, I understand your point. You say you need to continue murdering according to the epitaph for your own resurrection. So, considering your circumstances, I could just barely bring myself to understand your murders. Because to you, it's a necessary course of action. But that means all unnecessary actions you take beyond that are due to your meaningless and brutal tastes. In other words, if killing the 6 people for the first Twilight was a necessary action for you, then all that show of crushing their faces and splitting their stomachs and stuffing them full of sweets was completely unnecessary and caused by nothing more than your brutal hobby. That's an aspect of you that I definitely cannot forgive. Jambola, hello! Welcome in. Indeed. When you saw Aunt Rosa getting repeatedly killed in that horrible way, you apparently said something like, if they're going to be brought back to life in the end anyway, it doesn't matter how they're killed. I heard from Virgilia. Well, as to that, the idea that you can kill them as many times as you want as long as you can bring them back to life in the end. Is it a completely unnecessary action with no purpose other than to toy around with someone's life? If you're going to kill, do it instantly. Don't toy with them. If you won't kill them, then don't bully them. You're taking advantage of the fact that you can do as you will with people's lives, and you've forgotten the sanctity of life. So I can't accept or acknowledge you. I definitely can't accept as my opponent a person who doesn't know the value of life or the sadness felt when lives are lost. That is why the endless magic is known as a black art. The endless witch has no concept of limitations. She has no concept of the limitation and losses caused by breaking and killing. For that reason, endless witches sometimes start by jumping over the gap between life and death like it's a game. Oh, thank you for the follow! Much appreciated. So, as an endless witch, and by my own choosing, I never reached your level. It was something Virgilia had been trying to tell Beato for a long time. But Beato had been too young to repeatedly listen to those words. She had been too wild. She had been possessed by that detestable pleasure. I have been told not to break vases, but that's why I wanted to break them. Then I gained the endless magic. When I knew that I could fix them back to normal, no matter how badly I broke them. I was surprised at how fun it could be to break a vase. That is what's known as the forbidden honey. People are not captivated by what's inside. They are captivated by the sealed lock. It is truly regrettable. I want to ask you, Virgilia, why does this thing called the endless magic exist? For what purpose does it exist in this world? Oh, we're getting the lore? We're getting the deep lore? It's about time! It is not limited to the endless magic. All magic exists to bring happiness to the human world. After everything that has happened, it may be difficult for you to believe bad will come, but in order to bring blessings to the human world, we witches are supposed to become bridges between humans and non-humans. And that is why we train so hard. How does reviving the dead and torturing them to death over and over again help the human world? It doesn't. It doesn't. You're missing the point. The witches aren't supposed to be this twisted. That's the point. As they say, absolute power corrupts absolutely. There's nothing you can do. When a vase that has blah 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 blah. Let's try that again. When a vase that was an important memento is broken, if by fixing it everyone will regain their smiles, I would repair it with magic as many times as necessary. However, I would not be fixing it in order to break it again. I would be reviving it to give humans happiness. In that case, Mieto, you fail as an endless witch. Indeed. There's this thing that I've been vaguely thinking about. Why do I keep playing this strange game against you? Maybe this game isn't about making me surrender. Maybe as a test for you to be accepted as an endless witch. In the truest sense. I don't know about that. The reason I proposed this game to you was, simply as a way to kill time. There was no ulterior motives at work. Oh, what a terrible liar you are. Just now, I heard the definition of a witch from Virgilia. Virgilia, potato, patata. I swear, I change how I say it every stream. Forgive me. By that definition, you, Bieto, are not even a witch. You're an apprentice who's still in training and who misunderstands her own power. This was supposed to be a fight between a witch and a human. If you aren't a witch, then you aren't qualified to be my opponent. Understand? You say I am only an apprentice? Oh, thank you for the follow and oh, yay! 510! Yippee! Thank you. Then, when will I be accepted as your opponent once again? When can we resume this game? Who knows? At the very least, it isn't now. When you fully understand what I've said and become a real witch, I'll probably accept you as my opponent in this game once more. I can't understand if you say it so abstractly like that. Clearly tell me what I should do to earn your forgiveness. No, I've said enough. You think about the rest. That's all I want to say. If you can't figure it out, try talking with Virgilia and Ronov. A brat like you should start off by listening to what the adults say. Virgilia, suspend the game for now. Now that Ronov has stepped down as a representative, all we can do is wait for Beato to gain the qualifications of a proper opponent. Understood? Until Beato has been acknowledged as having earned those qualifications, the game will proceed without an opponent. Is that alright with you too, Beato? I have no objections. I want time. And a place where I can think at a leisurely pace. May I leave my seat for that? Yeah, that's fine. Well then, see you later. Wait. Don't make that dejected face. Sorry about that. Letting everything inside my heart show up on my face is part of my personality. Oh, I relate to that. I cannot deceive. Then maybe there's still some hope for you. Let me promise you one thing. In this game with you, I might win, and I might lose. If you don't come back, it might be my victory by default. At that point, Battler stopped talking for a second. Then, he spoke forcefully. However, I definitely won't be the one to step down. I definitely won't give you a victory by default. I'll keep on waiting here for you to sit there again as my worthy opponent. Battler-sama? Thank you, Battler. I will definitely come back and be accepted by you. After showing a hopeful smile for a very short while, Beato vanished. After seeing her expression as she left, Battler was absolutely convinced that her face could tell no lies. Meanwhile, the mansion's just full of corpses now. Because there were what? There were the 6 people killed in the closed rooms. And then there's Kinzo, the patriarch's corpse, got stuffed into the furnace. Post-mortem, thankfully, but they still cooked him, so, you know, the place reeks of burnt flesh and hair and all of that great stuff. And now we've got some bodies in the entrance hall and, like, the hallways and stuff. Not that anyone's gonna want to live on this island after all of this, but yeah, you're gonna have to demolish the buildings and get some exorcists and some priests. The 7 survivors returned to the guest house once again. By now, it was clear that those who went outside would not return alive. Rudolph's group had gone out with 2 guns and a master key, but those had been lost. It was already clear that those had been stolen by the culprit. Because the shutters were closed on the windows, they couldn't be opened even if the culprit had a master key. The front and back doors that led to the outside were all sealed by chains. They were further blocked with sofas and tables. Even if the culprit decided to break in through violent means, would it be easy for them? At this point, the typhoon may actually be fortunate. If it were clear outside, it might have been possible for them to set fire to the guest house. I didn't consider that possibility. Oh! I mean, that's one way to force them outside, I guess, or just, you know, kill them that way. If there wasn't a typhoon in the first place, the boat would have arrived before noon. That's not much of a silver lining. Ava-san? How do you feel? Like shit, she's got a fever and her husband's dead. Please, try to take it easy. Thank you. I still feel like I have a fever, but this is no time to complain about it. For the children's sake as well, this is no time to be bedridden. After crying so much in front of Hideyoshi's corpse, Ava had a strong self-awareness of her position as a mother, and her expression conveyed a strong will. In actual fact, her fever still hadn't gone down. And she was aware of that. If she didn't keep a strong hold on herself, she felt as though the fever would make her mind hazy again. By this point, the first floor formed a final line of defense set up by Kraus, Natsuhi, and Ava. The children and the guest Nanjo had been strongly warned not to go downstairs without taking great care. If the culprit used a ladder or something, it probably wouldn't be impossible for them to attack from the second floor. But it wouldn't be easy for them to break those sturdy shutters from such an insecure position. Why is this just making me think of that scene in Higurashi with like, who was it? Neon and Keiichi? Keiichi's on the ladder and like Neon starts shaking it like mad. The second floor was relatively safe compared to the first. Battler and George had also wanted to remain on the first floor so they could fight if the worst happened, but Ava had put a stop to that. In her mind, George was now the only member of her family. Oh, well, that's nice. What about the rest of us, huh? Do we not count? Do we not count? It seemed that she hadn't even... Let's try that again. It seemed that she didn't even want to expose him to the danger of coming down to the first floor. Kraus and Natsuhi could understand that feeling. Also, a great deal of time had passed since the siege began. In the second-story cousin room, Battler, George, and Jessica sat dazed and didn't even listen to the TV that had been left on. For a while, Nanjo had been with them and had tried to lend them words of encouragement. But when he realized that he might actually be having the opposite effect, he hid himself in his own room on the same second floor. George kept dazedly looking at the photographs inserted in his notebook. It was from the time he'd taken a vacation to Okinawa with Shannon. Shannon's happy smile was contained in those photos. George could remember the temperature and the humidity, the warmth and strength of the wind, and even what he had been talking about with her at the time those photos had been taken, as clearly as though it had been yesterday. So to George, they weren't simply photos, but a door to bring back warm memories. In this room, even though the sound of the typhoon and the TV should have entered George's hearing, it was the scenery of Okinawa he had seen with her and her laughing voice that had reached his eyes and his ears. George had strived to be reborn after meeting Shannon. He had sworn to separate himself from the third? Suddenly there's extra people here. Oh, and also, ad break going to be starting momentarily. So thank you for sticking around. Good old ad breaks. But at least this way, you don't get pre-roll. You don't get pre-roll ads when you join. He had sworn to separate himself from the timid person he had once been. Easily caught up in the atmosphere, unable to refuse a request, and easily used by those around him. He had resolved himself to become a strong man who could make her life more joyous. Therefore, if he hadn't met Shannon, the man called Ushinomiya George would probably have lived a very different life. And the George of that different life surely wouldn't have been as excellent a man as he is now. The Tomitake shirt is back. I forgot about that. The person I am now exists for Shannon's sake. Now that Shannon is gone, why do I exist? It's completely meaningless, isn't it? He felt a deep, deep sadness, as though he himself had become empty. Whoops. Nearly bumped my mug. That feeling must have been tormenting him this whole time. However, until Battler mentioned it, he hadn't been aware of that feeling himself. He'd finally managed to remember that it should have been all right for him to cry much, much more. So he cried, just like Battler had. He cried himself dry. By now, his eyes were bright red and swollen, and he couldn't cry anymore. Oh, somebody get this boy an icy spoon or an ice pack, something for his eyes. So George did his best to change his way of thinking. He was not meaningless now, and he should be grateful to Shannon for giving him such a character. The dead don't come back to life. He would have to get over being separated from his most beloved person. Art! Thank you for dropping by. Ooh, 4-leaf clover potion. Very nice. What a time to come in, right? So much sadness. Crawling in my skin, these wounds I will not heal. If he were to chase after Shannon and kill himself, she would surely be deeply dejected. It worked the other way around, too. If he had died and Shannon had chased after him, throwing away her own life, he wouldn't have been able to forgive himself. So, he chose to surpass his sadness and anger, and decided to thank her instead. After meeting Shannon, she made his days rich and full, and taught him the meaning of working hard for other people's sakes. As a result, she had shaped him into the kind of person he had wanted to be. He wanted to thank her for that. He tried to quell his sadness in this way. Welcome back from ad break! Y'all didn't miss much, just George waxing romantic about how much Shannon changed his life and now she's dead and like he's gotta keep on living. But each time he did, he remembered Shannon's smile. He understood it logically, He knew that grieving any more than this would only make her grieve in heaven. But that didn't bring a stop to his sadness. If only we could make ourselves stop being sad, just like, done. Aww. How can you be sad? Just cheer up. What do you mean you're depressed? Just get over it. Just buck up. Toughen up. It's pretty annoying. It is so annoying. Fortunately, less and less people pull that nonsense these days, but it does still happen. And it's infuriating. If that's happening to anybody out there, I'm sorry. We hear you. We see you. We will come smack that person for you. Maybe. If you pay for the flight and transportation. Why is it that when people die, it's so sad like this? Man, I feel for them in these situations, though. Like, what a way to have your first experiences with death. I mean, I guess Battler's already had that because his mother died, right? But, like, usually when you're around 18 to 21, your first experience with death is like a grandparent or something like that. Like, it's sad, but usually, it's not a super traumatic, tragic situation. Like, ideally, they pass away after a long life, blah, 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 blah. These people, like, I don't know when, Kinzo's wife passed away, but possibly these kids never even met their grandparents, right? At least on the father's side. So this may be their first encounter with death of a loved one. And what a freaking way to encounter that. Like, y'all are gonna need so much therapy. So much therapy. Our feels like it's gonna be a common ideal until my parents aren't around anymore. Our generations on the main ones taught mental health stuff. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely more common now. Obviously, the mental health profession didn't just materialize in the past couple decades. But it has at least gotten more, publicly accepted. Like, here in Canada, it's still... The situations where this law applies are still somewhat limited, but now you can actually file for, like, part of a tax return. You can actually file your therapy as long as it was done by, what is it, a social worker, a psychologist. So I mean, like, a psychotherapist doesn't count, unfortunately. So it's not all types of therapy that can now be reimbursed for. But at least there is some. Insurance as well is starting to cover in certain circumstances. So it's like, it's not perfect. Because, like, I mean, I went to a psychotherapist because the wait to go to, like, a registered psychologist can be years because they are so fully booked up. Because, they have those. Damn? Yeah. Because it's very hard to get in because they're in such high demand. Meanwhile, psychotherapists, they only have to be in school for a couple years, so it's much easier to find a psychotherapist who's available. But, like, in my case, like, it wasn't the ideal solution because in the end, I needed medication for it. I do think, even if you don't think therapy is going to work for you, it's worth giving it a try because it did give me a lot of tools to use to handle my mental illness. But, like, yeah, it's a complicated thing, but at least things are better now. But yeah, these poor kids gonna need so much therapy, and it's the 80s. It's gonna be real hard for them, but I think at least in this kind of traumatic situations, most cultures I think would be like, yeah, you should probably go to a professional. You've really been through something. I mean, famously, you hear like, oh yeah, Japan doesn't really do mental health, blah, 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 blah. There was a game that I watched someone do a review of that was set in the 80s called Yuyami Dori Tan Kentai, I believe. And yeah, one of the main characters is going to therapy every Sunday. In the 80s in Japan, but like they consider her very, very unusual. But like that is an interesting one because, the mother is pushing for her child to be put on medication because she's like, she's not normal, she's weird. And the therapist is like, yeah, she's just a little unusual, but, like, she might grow out of this, like... Like, I think nowadays they probably would have said she's, like, on the spectrum or, like, she has ADHD, something like that. But yeah, it was very interesting to see. Meanwhile, Battler muttered. It was as though he was speaking on behalf of all humans. Oh, hold on! He's picked up the microphone. God is speaking now. His question probably hadn't been directed at anyone. But Jessica answered. It's always sad when you have to say goodbye. But when that person's old or there's some time, when you know beforehand that it's coming sooner or later, that sadness gets spread out over a long period of time. When misfortune comes suddenly, it's sad because you didn't even get that time. I see. So if they get sick or something and end up bedridden in a hospital, you might be able to ready yourself for it, bit by bit. But when it happens suddenly someday, you don't get that luxury. The sadness that's usually spread out over several years closes in on you all at once. That's pretty tough. Sometimes it makes you feel a sadness so deep, it can leave scars for life. Yes, that's called trauma. God, I talked about stuff I had read recently about how the brain reacts to trauma. Like, trauma literally damages the brain in a way that whenever it experiences something that reminds us of that trauma, it acts like it is actively experiencing that phenomenon again, and not that it's past tense. So, like, if you had, like, you were in, like, a really violent car accident or something like that, and that left trauma. Anytime you get reminded of that, your body's like, oh, Or in a car accident, even though, you're sitting at home or whatever. It's crazy, man. The brains, as I've said to my best friend Iduna before, we've got like a 3-pound lump of meat between our ears, and it gives us so much trouble. And then the sad music kicks in. Like grandfather's occult hobby. People say that's what caused it. That Beatrice, his mistress, died a long time ago. And he was so sad that he couldn't pull himself together. Some people whisper that this is why he started sacrificing the rest of his life to occult research in order to revive the dead. I'm debating on food. Might just eat a ramen. Oh, like cup ramen? Cup ramen's good. In moderation, because I mean, it's very, very salty. Like, we do need salt, but there's so much salt in all our food nowadays. If that's true, grandfather succeeded in that miracle in his last moments. The culprit is the revived Beatrice, and grandfather was reunited with her at the moment he was killed. Excuse me. Pretty ironic that he revived her and then got killed by her. I guess it wasn't mutual anymore. Just like I was enjoying my afterlife. At this point, we're gonna grow new organs to help with that. Oh no. That's not the way to go about it. Because then you're gonna get people like Papa Melis who are like, oh, it's fine. I could just replace this, and then they don't act in moderation. Like, Papa Melis has diabetes now, right? He was pre-diabetic for a long time. He had the chance to turn it all around, and he was literally like, I'm gonna die someday anyway. Why should I deny myself? And now it's like, gardening was his passion. That's where I got my love of plants from. And now, like, he can't even go out into the garden because if he gets cut because of his illness, like, there's a very high chance of it getting infected and all that stuff. So it's like, well, now you regret this. Want a good, not long life type of person? Yeah, pretty much. I've talked about this before. He was already in his 40s when I was born. So, he's quite a bit, like, I have an older dad. So when I say this, don't be like, oh my god, Dee Dee's 50 years old when I say my dad was born in, like, 1948. So, he picked up some of that past, like, end of the war trauma and all that stuff. So because of that, and the hippie movement, he definitely has, like, the joie de vivre kind of thing. Like, live hard, live fast, because you're going to die, and you don't know when that's gonna happen kind of thing. Which is fair, but it's like, yeah, now he's like, end of his 70s, approaching the early 80s. I talked about it before, like, I was shocked the first time I saw him after lockdown because, like, he looked so rough, and that was a moment I got hit with, the mortality of, like, oh, frick, one day he's not gonna be here anymore. Because both my parents and me have really strong baby faces. Like, no one believed Papa Melis was his age. Now he looks like he should be, like, 90 or something. Like, he looks really rough. He beat the average lifespan, though. He did. But yeah, that's the thing, right? So that's why I'm like, oh yeah, growing new organs to manage all of our salt damage? That's the last thing we need, because, you know, someone like Papa Mouse will be like, ah, it's fine. They can just replace my liver. I'm sure at some point he was like, ah, it's fine. They can just replace my knee. And now he's going through the knee surgery recovery, and it's rough. I have to ask Mama Mellis how he's doing, because if I ask him how he's doing, he's like, oh yeah, I'm fine. And then I go to Mama Mellis, I'm like, all right, what's the truth? And he's like, yeah, he's doing okay. He looks kind of rough, though. He's being diligent about the physio, though. I'm like, okay. I could tell he had a moment, though, because all of a sudden he was like, you know, like, I guess I never really knew you, Diana, because I didn't know you were interested in this and that, and, like, the other things, and it's like, you know, I was just too busy trying to, like, deal with whatever life threw at me. I never, like, took the time to slow down, and I'm like, you had some kind of crisis of faith, didn't you? When you suddenly, like, when he suddenly starts being all, like, poetic and stuff, I'm like, you went through something. I don't know what it is, but you went through something. He might need another cup of water. Oh my god. Okay, for those who don't know, or, like, for those who came from the raid or whatever, Art's referencing, I guess, a now infamous story within the community of, Papa Mellis used to be, well, he still is kind of like a jerk sometimes, but he was really bad when I was younger, and he made Mama Mellis cry, and so I filled up a glass of water, and I threw it on him. So now, periodically, someone's like, just don't throw a glass of water at him. Straight anime style, yeah. And I mean, I think it was a testament to the fact that he realized he was being completely unreasonable, that, like, I didn't get in trouble from that. Like, I might have gotten scolded, but, definitely not, like, grounded or anything like that, because I think they realized, he realized how unreasonable he had been. So I'm like, bruh. I think I even told him, Mom's crying, and he's like, yeah, so? And I'm like, got a freaking cup of water now. I was just done. I'm like, no. No. That's what you think whenever you I mentioned my parents now. Fair enough. I feel like the water story, and then that story I told about how Papa Mellis managed to avoid jail time by making this whole fake story about some guy in Europe, and like, oh yeah, like, you know, this was his stuff. We didn't like know or whatever. They were like, we know you're bullshitting, but we can't prove it. So we'll let you off with the condition that you're banned from this city. Even so, grandfather probably managed to meet her. He gambled half of his life, and even though it was only for a short time, he was reunited with the woman he wished to see once more. Yeah, and at the cost of everyone else. Then he totally got roasted. Right into the oven! I mean, the furnace. It feels like the result doesn't quite add up to the cost of researching for half his life. That's not true. even if it was only for an instant. Grandfather must have been very happy to be reunited with the woman he loved. And that would be true, even if his crime of going against divine providence was punished by God. Oh, okay! That's where we're going. And the body was burned and sent down to hell. And now he's crying again. Oh, George is gonna start doing black magic, huh? Oh, dear. George Nissan? I wouldn't care if I met with the wrath of God and had my body burned, even if it was just for a short amount of time. If I could revive Shannon again. But, you know... what about what they want, huh? Everyone's always like, I need to revive the dead. I want to see them again. But what about them? What if they don't want to see you again? Even 1 minute would be fine. Anarchy, when Battler and Jessica realized that their pointless discussion was causing George pain. They could do nothing more than shut their mouths. George directed his thoughts to Kinzo's life. He sacrificed half his life to research that no one understood. And on the last day of his life, he revived the person he loved most. And probably succeeded in his reunion in his final moments. George didn't know how much time they'd had together. He didn't know if they'd been given an hour or just 5 minutes. However, that moment must have been enough to reward him for all those months of research. Even though he spent dozens of years to achieve that small amount of time was probably more than worth it to him. Until today, I never believed in the occult or magic or anything. Somewhere in my heart, I even made fun of Grandfather's research, thinking of it as nothing more than a pastime. However, I won't make fun of it anymore. No, to the contrary. I'll believe strongly that it's real. If the power of belief can create miracles, I'll probably throw away all my studies up until today. Spending the rest of my life from today onwards studying magic. Give me the power of magic. And give me a miracle that will let me see Shannon again. Well, your mother is kind of a witch now, so maybe she can help you out, my boy. Sorry, you two. What am I talking about? If you could revive the dead with magic, people would probably be researching it around the world. But things like that don't exist in reality. No one researches it. That's because they know the dead can't be revived with magic. Sorry for saying something so weird. It's my fault that the atmosphere here has gotten so strange. Sorry for making you tiptoe around me. Even though this is tough for us all. Even if I did it to divert myself from my sadness. Maybe I did say something strange. If I keep talking about stuff that's so weird, I'm sure it won't do anything good for their sadness. But that doesn't mean I can bear it in silence. I'll go downstairs and get another cup of coffee. Mom's very particular about how she likes hers. Does anyone else want a refill? Battler and Jessica lightly shook their heads. Without pressing them any further, I took my mug and left the room. See, they've got coffee. That's an appetite suppressant. They can be... They're fine. They can last until tomorrow, no problem. Alrighty. I think this is probably a good place to stop for the night. We've had 2 days of UMINEKO back to back. Hooray, hooray. Ah, yes, look at all these red portraits. Rest in peace, everybody. Man! We haven't seen Kanon in like 500 years. I miss Kanon. I think I would argue him and Jessica and maybe Battler are my favorite characters so far. We'll have to see how it all shapes up. Alrighty, 1 second. I'm gonna jump back to chatting and then we can wrap up for the night. Hold on. Where am I? There I am. Alrighty. Boop. Alrighty. Ta-da! Okay, tomorrow. I do believe it's Danganronpa V3. We're inching our way towards the end of that one. We are in the trial for chapter 5, I believe it is. It's whatever the second last, like the penultimate chapter is. So very soon we'll be at the end. Don't think we'll get there tomorrow, but who knows? Who knows how my energy levels will be? Let's see. Yes, tomorrow it is Danganronpa V3. That will be at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So adjust accordingly. Like, I believe that is about 5 p.m. British time? Thereabouts? For reference. So, in the evening-ish for you folks in Europe. And early morning for people on the west coast of USA/Canada. Alrighty. Let's see who we can raid. And thank you everybody for coming along. Thank you Saddle for the raid. Thank you everyone who has stuck around. I got one? I do not. If you got one you would like to redeem, by all means. There's another pinkish cat girl I'd like thou to meet. Uh-oh, okay. I'm being picked up like a kitten and brought over to meet someone. Nyanners? Oh, God. Would you like me to pass out? Because that's how you get me to pass out. The one time I raided Sayu/Alejandro, that was enough heart palpitations for me. Tutti Fruit. I love that name. Coffee Nostalgia. Oh, these vibes are so cute. I am here. Done. Perfect. Sold. Oh my God, he is precious. He is precious. I just take the gremlin and put them in my mouth. We We do not eat our friends, Dee Dee. We do not eat our friends, no matter how cute they are. Alrighty, here is a raid! And here is the Discord if you would like to come along and keep up with us when we're not streaming. We do every Sunday night EST time. We do an anime watch-along. Right now, we've been watching the 2000s-ish classic Prince of Tennis. We're almost done. So good time to come by, because then you can vote for whatever the next one is gonna be. We're also trying to plan a Mario Kart World, like, community gaming session for, like, the Christmas Day weekend. So, I mean, if anyone wants to join, having more people would help us lock in, because right now we're like... the votes are split on what day to do it as. So it's like... that decision paralysis. So having more people would definitely help. But for now, that is gonna be it for me. Oh, there is one more. I got merch on, like a... produce as it is ordered type store. You can get some mugs or sweaters with the artwork that Dee Dee has drawn herself. My cursed chibis. I am not a fantastic artist, but I do make some cute stylized stuff if you like, you know, like the fugly cute kind of stuff. Alrighty, let us go. Raid 2T. For now, that is gonna be it for me. So, if it's daytime where you are, have a wonderful rest of your day. And if it's nighttime, have a great rest when you head on off to bed. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Wash your face, brush your teeth, eat good food, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye!